try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is on chest, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine. From pain, it's a blessing, new focus, no guessing. Just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they see me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me.
What's up, everybody? How are y'all doing? Mike Jones here, another episode of My Fellow Americans. How is everybody doing tonight? So today is a pretty important topic. It is food, health, our children, our future, everything. We're going to start it off with a quick video and with our head of HHS, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. If I can find it. There we go. So without further ado.
When my uncle was president, 3% of American kids had chronic disease. Today, it's around 60%. And these are a broad category, the ones that Marty mentioned, like ADHD, the neurological disorders, ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, tics, Tourette's syndrome, narcolepsy, ASD, and autism. All of these are injuries that I never heard of when I was a kid. They were not part of the nomenclature. They weren't part of the dialogue. There was zero spent in this country treating chronic disease when my uncle was president annually. It's bankrupting our nation. 74% of American kids cannot qualify for military service. How are we going to maintain our global leadership with such a sick population? These exotic diseases, again, I never heard of: juvenile diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, Crohn's disease, and 100 others that were just unknown when I was a kid. I never knew anybody with a peanut allergy. I never knew anybody with a food allergy. Why do 5 of my 7 kids have allergies? I never knew of anybody who had eczema. I knew of a very small number of children who had asthma, but that has exploded as well today. And our fertility is dropping dramatically. Teenagers in this country today have the same, that our girls are reaching puberty 6 years early, from 10 to 14 years old. And this is existential for our country.
So yeah, there you have it. I mean, there's a lot of causes. There's your food, there's the additives in your food, there's your environment. It's not only that, but he wants to phase out petroleum-based chemicals like red 40, yellow number 5. They're linked to health issues like ADHD, cancer in animals, tumors, autism, diabetes. I mean, the list is endless. And the numbers have done nothing but go up. And we're mass poisoning an entire generation by allowing this to continue. So he wants to phase out 8 toxic artificial food dyes by 2026, which, you know, that's amazing. I mean, the Fruit Loops you eat now are not even close to what you would eat 20, 25 years ago, when they would tell you, oh, eat a good balanced breakfast, and you'd eat your Fruit Loops, your whatever, back then they weren't as bad for you. There wasn't all this synthetic nonsense and man-made stuff and all kind of stuff. And who knows? Do they? Obviously, they haven't done research into certain things, that health issues that have been coming, because they're too busy. The big food and big pharma are too busy making money off of us. You know, big food gets to make cheap ass food. Then people can only afford cheaper food, especially low income people, and they're feeding their children this garbage. That's why obesity rates have gone up. Obesity rate in the 60s was 13%. Now it's up to 43%. And it's, your morbid obesity has even risen tenfold. So there's just too much to say, and too much to, how can you say it's not your food? How can it not say it's what you eat? Because nowadays, especially in the digital time, everything is phones, sitting down, doing nothing. You can do everything from your phone. You can pay your bills. You can do, you barely even, you don't even have to mail letters anymore. It's, so, you don't walk around and see people not on their phone. It just doesn't happen. People are on their phone everywhere. People walk in front of buses because they're on their phone. It's silly, but it's true. But I was worried. I said, I was worried whatever his qualifications, but the whole Trump administration, the thing I have noticed is everybody Trump's has appointed is doing a job, just like they're supposed to for every administration. The only difference is the Trump administration is actually getting things done. Now, RFK doesn't necessarily have to have the correct credentials to run the HHS. If he knows what his goals are and he knows what he wants, which is obviously safer, healthier food for us, our kids, less sickness. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, out of control, and it's all because you got big food. They try and big pharma. They try to keep things quiet. They don't want people to know, but secretly they're poisoning us. They want us to be sick. They want our kids to be sick. That's more money they make in the health system. It's all a big scam. They're trying to slowly kill us. Why is it that the United States allows this nonsense in our food for us to eat and our kids to eat and our dogs to eat and whatever and our animals to eat? But you go over to Europe and a lot of these chemicals aren't in there. They're prohibited. Most of them are prohibited all around the world. But we're in the US sitting here with all these red dyes and stuff. Well, overseas they use they make artificial coloring out of, beets and whatnot, and they get the coloring naturally. Over here it's, let's poison us. Some of the stuff I was reading, they use in weed killer, Roundup. And it's hard to believe that for the longest time you think your country is the best country in the world, but we're sitting here slowly killing ourselves, our kids, and nobody's standing up for that stuff. Everybody wants to stand up for all this crazy nonsense that is not important, but what's really important is the health and safety of our children. And the safety of our children is slowly getting taken care of with the immigration and getting these illegals and terrorists out of our country. And now Mr. Kennedy Jr. is attempting to work on the food part of it, which, I don't know about you, but my kids like to eat cereal. My kids like Doritos. And some of these things are the worst things for you to eat. Skittles. I love Skittles. I'll tear some Skittles up. But it's in all these products that they just have this taste. You can't stop eating them. And yeah, we have an obesity problem. Absolutely. But deeper than that, it's the chronic illness. And it's sickening that people get rich off of us American citizens suffering. And 129 people in the U.S. have at least one chronic disease. 5 of the top 10 causes of death are preventable and treatable. 42% of people have 2 or more chronic conditions. 12% have at least 5. I mean, and then 90% of a $4.1 trillion healthcare expenditure is attributed to managing and treating chronic illness and mental health. Now, if we get the food to where it needs to be and we start getting these things that are causing these sicknesses to die down, that's going to be less money that people are trying to fork over for healthcare. That's going to be, and that hurts. That hurts big pharma. That's a big thing. And that's why it's so hard to get these things straightened out, because these billion-dollar companies, they don't want to lose money. They don't want to lose anything. They're greedy. It's all about the profit. So, it's nice to see someone in there that is overlooking that situation and trying to get to what is right, what all of us want for our children, what all of us want for the health. I mean, yeah, we're living longer than we used to, but we're doing it in a lot unhealthier way. We're having more heart attacks, more strokes, more children with autism. And that's not just the deepest autism, but that's, there's different grades of autism. And some of them they just can't, some of them it's terrible. And RFK believes this is linked to chemicals, which would only make sense, because why are the numbers going up? Why are the numbers more? It's like 1 in 26 or something now. Kids are born with autism, when it used to be like 1 in 10,000. Now there's got to be a reason. That's a different topic. Could be environmental. It could be the stuff that we're eating in our food. Who knows? But diet is a big part of our health, and it seems like 95% of the stuff you buy out there that you want to eat, you're like, oh, this is good, but it's not good for you. None of it is. I mean, you got fast food, which is 90% made up stuff. You got your chips, all that kind of stuff. You have to literally get farm fresh vegetables and absolutely do all that. And then you run the risk of, you don't know what pesticides were used on your vegetables, or if they were clean good, and it's scary, because everybody wants to be healthier. But some people just can't afford, the low income people. And I think that's why it targets them the most, the low income class, because it's easier to go to one of these cheap grocery stores and get a box of Cheez-Its and get this and get that, whenever they make it cheaper. It's cheaper than the healthier versions of everything. So, when the food that is good for you costs more than the food that's not, but unfortunately you can only afford the food that's not healthy, that's a problem. So by him by him working with them and the FDA to get these chemicals out of our food, hopefully eventually we can start to reverse this process. Hopefully we can get the obesity down. Hopefully we can get the nonsense in our food down. And it's not even that. It's, nowadays everybody is so lazy. They have weight loss shots you take now, Ozempic or whatever it is. And you give yourself a shot and you lose weight. Now, I don't know about you, but it seems like us Americans, the more we advance, the more time goes by, we get a little bit lazier. What happened to going on walks and going to the gym, or, just being active in general? Well, why do that? Why do that when, if you got the money, you can just go stab yourself in the stomach once every so often and you just lose all that weight magically, So there's definitely priority issues in this country. And it's nice to see that they're finally starting to make things happen. You've had all these people, like I've said, you've had all these people that have been appointed to these positions so many times before. But the problem is a lot of them are easily to be paid off. A lot of them, oh, hey, we're going to push you a little bit of something this way. And, we're going to pretend this isn't going on, because at the end of the day, greed is one of the biggest things that run our country. And it's nice to see we have a president who doesn't need money. So he's in there trying to straighten things out. He's trying to fix the trade stuff. And, then we got RFK, and, I questioned his ability. I questioned his qualifications, but you know what? He's the first one I've seen go up there and try to go after these people, trying to go after what's right. And I don't know if y'all know, but RFK is in hella shape. So I just don't, it irritates me that we're finally learning what we're finally learning that people really didn't care. And now people are starting to care. People do care. The problem is nobody ever took the steps that was needed. So hopefully RFK Jr. can get this going. But I mean, this is a clip with RFK. I'll show you this one. I mean, this guy is like, what? I think he's 70, and he's in better shape than most 30-year-olds. So
lifestyle, then they're not going to make as much money, and they're not going to have as much power in Washington. And isn't it?
Well, it's about power and raw economic incentive. And as much as we can suggest that it's simple, it's not easy, and it's not easy by design. And in fact, it's called structural violence. And it's this collaboration way big farming proliferates these cheap, toxic calories. Big food picks up those calories, and they tinker with it a bit more with their food scientists to make it more addictive, to make it omnipresent than big businesses with all their diseases. And we won't even touch on big insurance and how they play a role because there isn't enough time. But the bottom line is, look at the world. It's this simple. Infertility, highest ever. Early onset cancer diagnosis up 79% over the last 3 decades.
That's crazy.
74% of adults in America are overweight and obese. We need change. We need it now. What they're doing isn't working, and it's not working on purpose because it's profitable for the very few, and it's killing them. If you're afraid of RFK, you've lost your mind. Take a back seat. Let the professionals in this space handle it, and thank God when it starts improving.
Amen. Amen. I mean, this is just the truth. It's coming out. People are standing up for the things they're supposed to be standing up for. And everybody still got this Trump derangement syndrome, but you got RFK derangement syndrome. You got Elon derangement syndrome. It's anybody that's on the left. Just, they can't be happy about any positive things that this administration is trying to do. And, at some point, you got to ask yourself, what the hell are they even doing? What the hell are they even there for? Why is there even a Democratic Party? And then on top of that, not only that, RFK made some comments about autism the other day, and Rosie O'Donnell didn't really like it. Let's take a look at that one too. Let's just keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it. Nope. Is that the right one? I hope so. Here we go.
Taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted.
Now, he has since clarified that he was talking about a subset of people with severe autism. I just want to make sure that that's out there. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's very disrespectful. I think it's disgraceful. And I think he is wholly unqualified to be the head of Health and Human Services. I think most of the cabinet picks that Donald Trump has made are part of his vision of a reality show government and not the most qualified people available, especially Robert Kennedy. And to think that go on with such disgraceful, dehumanizing remarks is absolutely deplorable.
Now, see, this is why a lot of people can't stand Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell, who the hell are you to sit here and say who's qualified and who's not? He was put there to do a job. And like I said, I worried about qualifications too. But if you don't give people the opportunity to show you what they're about, which he is starting to show you what he's about. He's about being healthy, or he's about being, I mean, the dude's 70 years old, could do more sit-ups and pull-ups and all that than me. And I'm 36. So What does that say? And not even that, you're sitting here, you ain't even an American anymore. You're in Ireland. You moved to Ireland because of the Trump administration. Like, I haven't heard anything so damn silly in my life. You know, if you hate it here so much and then you move across to a different country, you shouldn't even be doing interviews, because in my mind, you're a traitor, you're treasonous, and you're a crybaby. You run away from anything that you don't agree with. You sat there and moved your family over there, and you have no freaking right to sit here and talk on RF Kennedy and the whole situation with health human services. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Stay over in Ireland. Why don't you ask if you can do interviews over there? See if they want you on their shows, because honestly, you shouldn't be on any American airwaves whatsoever. It's just absolutely disgraceful. And honestly, who do you guys think has better knowledge on your health? This guy at 70 years old, or this lady who hates America because of Donald Trump and moves her ass all the way over to Ireland as a little protest? Like, grow up. Grow the hell up. People, that's one of the things I'm tired of, is people don't give people the opportunity. Like, it's like the Trump administration is trying to move, they're trying to get things done, and then the Democrats are sitting there trying to sabotage everything. They push for violence, they push for all this stuff that makes zero sense. You guys are fighting for 2080 issues still. You haven't made any progress. Your approval rating keeps dropping. Like, get with the damn program. Start showing Americans that you actually give a damn about them. But I don't even know if you can do that at this point, honestly, because, you know, you stick your hand in the fires too many times, and eventually you're going to be like, well, gee whiz, I'm not sticking my effing hand in there again, you know? So, you know, it's hard to trust these Democrats. It's hard to trust these, especially these weird leftists like Rosie O'Donnell, freaking just crazy. She'd have her perfect little spot on The View with the cows on that show. It's just ridiculous. We need to herd all these anti-American, crazy leftist lunatics to different countries anyway. But we don't do that. This is America. You're an American. You have your due rights. If you're an American. If you're an illegal, I don't think America owes you a damn thing. But anyway, that was my show for today. You know, a very important topic. I want to make sure our kids are healthy. You know, nobody wants to see their kids sick. I mean, I've noticed it. When I went to school, when I was younger, it was pretty simple for me to get perfect attendance. I had perfect attendance multiple years. And anymore, it's like, man, if you got perfect attendance, that's an accomplishment. Because I tell you, my kids get sick all the time. Other kids are getting sick. The COVID thing set everybody's immune systems back. And then we had Nazi Mr. Fauci giving us all nonsense information, and Andrew Cuomo giving New Yorkers false information, padding the numbers, saying only so many died when he wasn't even given the real numbers. The corruption is coming out. The knowledge is coming out. And I pray that you Democrats, or you people that don't know, you do your research. Do your research. Don't just believe a Democrat or a left-wing extremist because they say something. Do your research before you get mad about anything, because I see a lot of people out there, they protest and they say all this, but they don't know the facts. They don't know the truth. They don't know what's going on. And you know, maybe you are just crazy, because if you want our kids to be sick, or you want illegals, killers, murderers, terrorists in our country, maybe there's no help for you either. But, you know, I appreciate everybody that stops by. Please remember, smash that like button, share, hit me up with a comment. I like to hear everybody's opinion. You know, try to watch the videos to the end. That helps. Hit that like button. That really helps too. It's like, if you stop in, just hit the like button. Tell your friends, tell your family. You know, I appreciate everybody. You know, let's make our kids healthy again. and make us healthier again. Shit. I think that's what everybody wants, just to live a long, healthy life. So until next time, stay safe. I love y'all. God bless y'all. God bless America. Peace.